Hi, I'm Kyle. I'm an emerging league photographer with the iLCP, and I've been based in China for over the last 5 years. Now, as many of you know, China is of course the world's most populous country, but it also has the third highest biodiversity. So that means in China especially, every single conservation story is so linked to the incredible diversity of economic, ethnic, educational, and development backgrounds of the people there and how that ties into the land and wildlife. So my work in China mostly focuses and works with local grassroots conservation groups and local ranger groups inside China's wild areas, documenting their work and how their work protects a lot of the species and stories that we all know and love. Like, of course, the giant panda, but not just deity-like panda statues, but real ones too. So today, I will show you some of the stories behind the creation of China's new giant panda national park from my work over the last few years, and what the human stories are behind conserving this very charismatic bear look like, because the story of the panda is frankly as much of a human one as it is a wild one. So the new Giant Panda National Park has 230,000 people living within it, and only 5,500 will be relocated, and about 12,000 will become rangers inside the national park. These rangers come from a very diverse background. Some are quite young, like this ranger supported by Jack Ma's Paradise Foundation. This young ranger made the rare choice to stay and work close to his village home, rather than follow many other young people and migrate to the city. Others, like my friend Li Ray in this photo, were migrant workers for years all across China and even served in the military, but eventually came home to be closer to their traditional villages and start a family. Becoming a ranger was one of the only things they could do to earn a livelihood at home after stricter protection measures were put in place. So actually in the 70s, most of the men in this area were actually put in prison for hunting pandas, which is now unheard of. But there's also generational stories. The now great-grandfather on the left organized Sichuan's earliest anti-poaching patrol group in the 90s, which now numbers over 500 collectively organized villagers, and he is now helped by his son and a grandson patrolling about 4,000 meters for at least a week each month. The threats that most of these rangers combat are still illegal poachers. Although private gun ownership was banned in China over 30 years ago, many villagers still secretly own guns or use wire traps to snare wildlife. They're hunting for traditional Chinese medicine or just game meat, species like the Himalayan goral or takin. Once, this ranger group had to overcome and subdue a group of poachers armed with guns only with their bare hands. All of the scientific research and data on giant pandas, and I mean all, relies exclusively on the help of these local rangers monitoring the species and maintaining infrared cameras. The tracking and data collection methods can be quite archaic, but like everything else in China, the technology is improving and changing rapidly, even bringing in facial recognition AI, which China is great at to track the wildlife. But the actual work of patrolling for poachers, collecting data, and surveying the reserves that make up the new national park is incredibly difficult. Trying to get through slippery, wet, and leech-infested bamboo and mountainous cliffs is one of the most difficult tasks of just about any work in a nature reserve, especially when the bamboo grows higher than your head, but thankfully not your teapot. So pandas aren't just cute and cuddly, they are maddeningly hard to track and monitor. But of course, it's not without its subtle rewards. I particularly enjoy hiking with the Sichuanese rangers, who often make some of the most delicious and spicy food, which also really helps keep down the jugs of rice wine consumed at base camp. And I have great respect for them for carrying this iron walk over 9 days in the mountains so that we can eat very well. No one wants to be hangry in the field. That's their philosophy, and I love it. So giant panda habitat conservation cannot be separated from the work and mission of these locals who are risking their lives to make conservation and science even a possibility here. In China, I've found that there's often a particular collective mindset which makes photos of rangers like these sometimes stir up even more empathy than even the best wildlife photos. And I think part of the reason of that is because to date, a lot of these ranger stories have been neglected or ignored compared to wildlife photography in China. So in China, I've worked very hard to combine my photography and filmmaking skills plus my Mandarin to put these ranger stories out into the forefront of the very interesting and fascinating Chinese media world. And on the way, I've become a bit of an influencer for conservation myself. But the best part of my work, hands down, is seeing these rangers win more and more recognition for the incredible work that they do. Next year, I will continue to document China's 10 new national parks, and with a grant from the US government, start a DSLR camera trapping project with snow leopards and pandas that share the exact same habitat. China is an incredibly interesting place and only becoming more so, and the people are just as beautiful and complex as the land and wildlife there. And I am just so incredibly thankful for all the opportunities I've had to do this work over there. Thank you so much for watching.